Hello everybody, today we are taking on stage 4 of the Tour Fever, l'étape du Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. The challenge is simple to understand, but much harder to complete. 20.8 kilometers with 1,135 meters of elevation, almost entirely uphill on the long ascent of Mont Ventoux. This is officially listed as a group ride, but with more than 50 riders on the start line, I already know it probably won't stay that way for very long. On Zwift, the moment someone increases the pace, nobody wants to let the wheels go. And very quickly, a relaxed group ride can turn into a real race. Today, I have two very different objectives. The first one is to finish as high as possible. With such a large field, the top 5 result would already be a very strong performance. But the second objective is probably even more important. My personal best on the Mont Ventoux segment is currently 1 hour 22 minutes and 37 seconds. And today I want to beat it. That means I have to stay with the strongest rider while also managing my effort carefully enough to avoid completely exploding before the summit. And there is one major problem. I've only had about 5 minutes to warm up, which is far from ideal before such a long and demanding climb. So the challenge is clear. Survive the fast start, stay near the front, fight for the best possible position, and somehow still have enough left to set a new personal best on Mont Ventoux. Can I achieve both goals in the same ride? Let's find out! But before the action really kicks off, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below. It really helps the channel grow and allows this video to reach more Zwift riders. Now let's back to the climb. From the very beginning, the pace is already high. The American rider Ascaraga has gone clear on his own, but is riding at an extremely aggressive pace, more than 5 watts per kilo over the opening 2 minutes. If he keeps pushing like that, he risks being removed from the result because this event has a 5 watts per kilo limit. Behind him, I'm part of a small chasing group with 3 other riders, Adi from the Netherlands, Eyo from Ukraine, and Sorensen from Denmark. We are also moving quickly. I'm averaging around 240 watts from the start, and we have already opened a gap of more than 10 seconds over the riders behind. So my objective is now very simple: stay in the wheels of these guys for as long as possible and see how far they can take me up the mountain. After only a kilometer and a half, Heiho from Ukraine is the first rider to lose contact. I have to make an extra effort to get back onto the wheels of the others. At the end, the Dutch rider has even opened a small gap over Sorensen. I stay tucked in behind them because I'm already riding above the pace. I should be able to sustain. The climb has barely started, so there is no way I'm going to take a turn at the front or try to close the gap myself. I'll leave that work to Sorensen and just hope he doesn't end up riding me off his wheels as well. As we approach the official start of the Mont Ventoux segment, we finally catch the air. And now the reclimb begins. Sorensen keeps pushing and immediately starts opening another gap. I try to reach his wheel because he could be exactly the rider I need to follow if I want to beat my personal best. But he's already moving away quickly, and closing that gap is proving much harder than expected. So I decide to stay with Adi. He will eventually become my main reference point for almost the entire climb. And my goal is simply to hold these wheels for as long as possible. He is riding at around 4 watts per kilo, which is already close to my limit. I know I can probably sustain that pace for around 20 minutes, but certainly not for the whole climb, if he keeps it up. So for now, I stay in the draft, focus on these wheels, and try to delay the moment when I will have to ride at my own pace. At kilometer 4.4, I'm starting to struggle to hold Adier's wheel when tacos come flying past from behind at more than 4.6 watts per kilo. I immediately try to jump onto his wheels. There are two slightly flatter sections coming up, and this is a perfect opportunity to use this draft, close the gap back to ADR, and hopefully gain a few more valuable seconds in my attempt to beat my Mont Ventoux personal best. Of course, it also means another rider has moved ahead of me in the overall ranking, but I'm still in a strong position, and right now the priority is to take advantage of this opportunity. Even with the draft, I still have to push extremely hard to stay with him. So I move back into third place behind Tacos and Nadier, as we soon gonna take the famous right-hand turn that signals the beginning of the wheel wall. And this is the right-hand turn, and the reclimbing is starting now. Little by little, Adia starts losing Tacos' wheel. Tacos continues riding away, and once again, Adier and I are left together as a duo. A few pedal strokes later. Most of the time, Adier is riding at a pace that is slightly above mine, so I spend most of the climb sitting in this draft without really taking many turns at the front. But whenever I feel strong enough, I try to come through and do a little bit of the work myself. The effort is definitely not shared equally because he is clearly the stronger rider today. But every now and then I move the head, give him a short chance to recover, and then drop back onto his wheels again. It's not much, but I'm trying to contribute whenever I can while still protecting my own effort for the rest of the climb. At kilometer 10.1, after climbing more than 688 meters and spending almost 35 minutes riding above what I can realistically sustain, my heart rate is sitting around 178 beats per minute. I'm right on the edge of blowing up, and eventually I have to let ADR wheels go. We are only at 44% of the way through the climb, so there is no point completely destroying myself now. I decide to ease off slightly, recover as much as possible, and see whether I can hold on to fourth place for as long as I can. The Chinese rider Lu is still 1 minute and 45 seconds behind me, but is climbing strongly at more than 4 watts per kilo. Meanwhile, I'm starting to crash at kilometer 15.6, with just over 5 kilometers left to climb. The Japanese rider comes flying past me. I had eased off slightly as I saw him approaching, hoping to save enough energy to follow his wheel. I even activate my aero power-up to maximize the draft and try to stay with him. But as soon as he reaches me, he accelerates again and more than 5 watts per kilo, almost if he wants to make absolutely sure I cannot follow. I give everything I have to close the gap, but after such a long effort, I simply cannot match his acceleration. The Chinese rider Lu has not caught me yet, but is now only 53 seconds behind and continuing to close. There are still 5 kilometers remaining and holding my position is becoming increasingly difficult. Meanwhile, Azcárraga, the American rider who attacked alone at the start and spent the opening minutes above 5 watts per kilo, has now been disqualified. That changed the situation completely. Even so, Fujisaki has passed me. Azcárraga removal from the results means I'm still holding 4th place. So the goal remained the same: keep pushing, protect that position, and try to reach the summit before Lu can close the gap behind me. At kilometer 17.6, Lu finally catches me and immediately moves past. I try to get onto his wheels, but at this point in the climb, even so my heart rate is relatively low, there is almost nothing left in my legs. I am completely exhausted after starting the ascent far too hard and spending so much time above a sustainable pace. Still, I try to hold Lu wheel for as long as possible and use him as my final reference point all the way to the summit. Finally, around kilometer 19, after spending more than a kilometer trying to stay on loose wheels, my heart rate rises too quickly and I completely crack. My legs are in a lot of pain and there is simply nothing left to follow him. Fortunately, I still have a comfortable advantage over the rider behind me in the fight for the 5th place. So from this point, the priority is no longer to chase, it's just to need to settle into my own rhythm, avoid a complete explosion, and somehow make it to the summit. With only 1 kilometer remaining to the summit and the finish, I realize I'm in a very good position to beat my personal best. But more importantly, Lu is beginning to slow down. His power frequently drops below 3 watts per kilo, while I suddenly find a little more energy. He still have more than 20-second advantage, but it looks as though he may be cracking too. So I decide to chase. Maybe I can catch him, get onto his wheels and turn the fight for the 4th place into a final sprint. I get out of the saddle and start pushing again. The gap begins to fall quickly. The 22 seconds becomes 11, 10, 9. I can finally see him ahead and I feel as though I'm getting closer with every pedal stroke. My heart rate climbs back above 180 beats per minute. There are still 700 meters remaining, but the gap is down to 8 seconds. Now 7 seconds. I keep pushing. 6 seconds. 5 seconds. I'm really close now. 4 seconds. Psychologically, I feel as though I'm taking control. I even cut the inside of the corner to save few meters. But Lou seems me coming. He responds by lifting his power above 5 watts per kilo, then 6, 6.1, 6.2. I tried to match him, but he managed to hold the acceleration. The gap starts increasing again, and this time I have nothing left to answer. My final attempt is over. I pushed him to react, but Lou was still strong enough to defend fourth place, and I finally cracked for good. With only few meters remaining, I just try to finish as quickly as I can without completely blowing up. I'm already very exhausted, but I'm almost certain that the personal best is secured. Just as a reminder, my previous record of 1 hour, 22 minutes and 37 seconds was only for the official Mont Ventoux segment, not for the entire route. Now, less than 50 meters to go. And I finally crossed the line in the 5th place. 5th out of 56 riders with an average power of 237 watts over roughly 21 kilometers and a total ride time of around 1 hour and 20 minutes. But the most important number is my time on the Mont Ventoux segment. 1 hour, 16 minutes and 40 seconds. That is almost 6 minutes faster than my previous personal best of 1 hour, 22 minutes and 37 seconds. So despite starting too hard, suffering badly in the second half of the climb and missing out on 4th place, this is still an excellent performance. A top 5 finish and a huge new personal best on Mont Ventoux. I'm extremely happy with that result. So, here is the final Zwift Power Top 5. Ugumeshi Tacos takes the win in 1 hour 7 minutes and 18 seconds after an incredibly strong climb. Liu finishes second in 1 hour 20 minutes and 4 seconds. And after the results we processed on Zwift Power, I move up to the 3rd place with a total time of 1 hour 21 minutes and 2 seconds. Tetsu Hem completes the rides in the 4th place in 1 hour 24 minutes and 20 seconds, while Peter Nordblom finishes 5th in 1 hour 30 minutes and 17 seconds. So, in the end, I achieved both of my objectives, a top 5 finish and even a podium on a Zwift Power. But most importantly, a huge new personal best on the Mont Ventoux segment. My previous record was 1 hour 22 minutes and 37 seconds. Today I completed the segment in 1 hour 16 minutes and 40 seconds, improving my best time by almost 6 minutes. I also want to give a special thanks to ADR. He put on me for a large part of the climb and gave me a wheel to follow when I was already riding above my sustainable pace. I'm honestly disappointed not to see him in the final results, because he played a major role in my performance today. I noticed that he is disconnected several times during the event, so that may explain why his result is missing. Also, I cannot be completely sure. Either way, thank you Adea. Without your help, beating my personal best by such large margin would have been much more difficult. This may officially have been a group ride, but it definitely felt like a race. And it turned into one of my best climbing performances on Zwift. Have you ever started a long climb far too hard and still managed to beat your personal best? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this Mont Ventoux battle, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Zwift races, challenges and performance experience. See you!